Hey guys. So first and foremost, I'd really like to thank the team behind Project Fair for giving me a chance to be a part of this amazing project. Not only did I learn a lot through this journey, but my perspective of approaching problems is completely changed as soon as I became a part of this project. And I'd really like to actually thank you guys for being super patient, and you've been an amazing mentor, to be very frank, to help us and guide us through these sessions. So, congratulations, Team Fair, and I hope that you guys keep doing such projects because these actually help us as individuals to know about various perspectives in the ways that we can actually approach problems. So, when the project started and we were given topics to actually find facts about, the first thing that I really liked was we were supposed to find facts. We were divided in groups and we were each given about two to three problems to find facts about, right? And when I looked up the problem of green menstruation during the process of my fact finding, not only was I completely amazed, but I also got to know the effect that me as a girl and being a pad user am making on the environment. I used to be like really proud of myself that I am the person who's advocating good menstrual hygiene when I come across household maids and girls from underprivileged backgrounds. I have taken sessions and have actually advocated the usage of pads to make sure that they have a good menstrual hygiene. But when I was doing my fact finding, that was the time that I realized that pads actually cause a lot of harm to the environment. I mean, learning the fact that it took 300 years or somewhere around 800 years to actually, decompose these pads, different types of pads obviously take different amounts of time. But the pads that we're regularly using, like in day to day lives, the pads that, we buy from the markets, not only do they create pollution, but one of my teammates pointed out that the packet that they come in also creates pollution. And it was such an amazing point of view, and that is the time I realized that, oh my god, have I been advocating polluting the environment till date? I mean, there are villages that actually are, making their own little incinerators to make sure that the pads, they don't create a lot of pollution. Again, pads not only create pollution, but they're also adding on to the burden that the manual scavengers are picking up, right? I mean, how is a manual scavenger supposed to know that this packet or this newspaper contains a pad wrapped inside it, right? And obviously they end up picking it, and when they end up picking it, they are picking up with it a lot of germs, viruses, bacteria and whatnot, and they themselves are getting affected, right? I mean, I was really amazed to think of it from that perspective. And that is when I also read about the red dot campaign, that all I as an individual am supposed to do, if and at all I'm using a pad, is that I should take the pad that has been used, wrap it in a newspaper like I usually should, and I mark it with a red dot on top of it, right? I mean, it's just a very small task that I as an individual am supposed to do, but it actually creates a lot of difference. And when I read more about it during the fact finding session, I also got to know about various alternatives that actually exist apart from the menstrual cup that many of us know about but don't end up using. There are pads that are decomposable, pads that do not create this much of environmental burden, and they're actually being marketed. But very few of us end up buying it because we don't know about it. The fact that actually amazed me was menstrual cups are so much better as compared to pads. But just because during childhood we are exposed to pads, we end up using them for a longer period of time because that is something that we've become comfortable with by the time that we're all grown up and the adolescent period is over and we're adult. And as adults, we've already used pads for a long period of time, say 9 to 10 years. And when we actually try to switch to the cup, it's actually a lot of problem. So the thing that we need to actually create a difference at the level of is that we actually make our children or the children in schools use these cups and make the usage of cups very normal. That it's something that everybody uses. For us, it's like a revolution, but it should not be a revolution for them. For them, it should be something that they regularly use, right? I mean, it was a wonderful solution that we came across. And not only that, when I learned about water pollution, shipping, and toxins, I was completely amazed again at how ships have been creating pollution. Not obviously everybody knew that ships create oil spills and obviously they are emitting stuff, but I never knew the magnitude of this problem, the level at which it has been affecting lifestyle and the marine lives. I mean, even if you're buying a lot of fish products in the market, there are many products that you might not even realize are fish products, but there's a lot of ways that you can encourage the uses of such products and you won't even realize it. And when we read about the problem and we read about the magnitude of this problem, not only was I like literally stood aback, but I also realized that I should stop probably using products that contain fish stuff in it, right? Say for omega fatty acids, many of us end up buying salmon omega oil. So instead of that, there are actually vegetarian alternatives available that are equally good, and not many of us realize it. So one of the things that I really liked about the project was that we were supposed to contradict the facts that we had actually put across and the facts that came to our head. When I advocated, what I had to advocate was for the fact that shipping should not be completely stifled. And when I read about it, advocating the something that you advocating against something that you yourself believe in is actually really tough. But when you go into the depths of that fact, you realize that actually the other side of the problem is something that you should have read long ago about. Now, if we reduce shipping, if we completely remove shipping and use other modes of transport, then it will actually cause a lot of economic pressure on the governments. And also might be some there are some stuffs that actually need ships to be transported by via ships only. Again, a lot of water pollution is not only caused because of ships, it's actually caused because of the religious activities that we do. And in our own homes, say Ganpati Visarjan and going to the Ganga for the mundan of babies is something that happens in every family. But little do you realize that it's actually creating a lot of pollution, right? So this is something that we can actually discourage at the level of our own houses. We can actually try and curb this level of pollution. I mean, charity begins at home, and little steps actually matter. When you look at the statistics and facts, and you realize that your turning one tap off can create a difference in amounts of hundreds of liters throughout the year, is when you realize that wow, just one tap can create this difference. And if you ask everyone in your family to follow it, it's hundreds of liters of water saved and lots of pollution reduced. Having said that, other alternatives can be harvesting the rainwater, obviously, but the concerning the fact about the seas and the oceans and trying to stop water pollution through that can be trying to use more better economical oils in ships. Then you can also use containers that are leak proof to make sure that oil spills don't happen. And oils that are used in ships also emit a lot of carbon particles, and obviously they end up harming the marine life. So instead of using those fuels, we can actually switch to economical fuels. Obviously switching to economical fuels will cause the government a lot, and that might cause economical pressure on some governments, but there are governments that can actually afford switching to biodegradable oils. So that is where we need to put this to good use. Switching to economical oils may seem like a task, but it's much better than actually working on making completely new ships. Fitting of newer engines and more environmental friendly engines in ships can also help, but again, that can cause a lot of economic pressure. So the least we can do is try at the level of our homes. We cannot go out and ask the governments to actually fix ships, but we can start at our homes, right? And the governments that can afford it should definitely go for it. And while buying new ships, it's something that can be kept in mind. If it is kept in mind, obviously, with the end of time, the situation definitely will improve. We'll have a revamped fleet of ships within the span of few tens of years, and that can definitely help reduce pollution. But yeah, it's a far gone idea. I'd like to really suggest that start your own homes, start switching off taps, start advocating it to your family that the Ganga river, or any river for that matter, does not want to be polluted. It's holy, and let's try and be responsible and intelligent individuals in the long run. So that's all I like to say. And thank you for giving me this opportunity. I'll forever be thankful for helping me approach problems from this point of view. And thank you again. Bye.